The year is 1989, and I'm just an 8-year-old little boy. My father, who was 34 years old at the time, decided it would be a good idea to get his young son involved into organized sports. And the first organized sport he wanted me to participate in was Little League Baseball. For those of you who are from the black community, we are all familiar with T-Ball, Little League Baseball, Pop Warner. Most of these organizations in the black community are ran by unheralded, talented black men who never get enough respect. Just like boxing coaches like the great Doc Broadus, who took a young George Foreman from a Houston ghetto and pretty much turned him into one of the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time, doesn't get any respect. But let's get back to my story. When I started playing baseball, I was assigned to the Del Paso Heights A's, or the Athletics. And it was organized, the head of the Little League Baseball team, by a lady who's now passed on. I believe her name was Velma Armstrong. We all know her as Mrs. Armstrong. But the heart and soul of the Little League Baseball community, in my opinion, was a man by the name of Harry Block. Harry Block was so impactful in Del Paso Heights, the city decided to name a street after him. That is why if you type in Harry Block Street, you will see that obviously that is a street, but we don't know why that street is there. Simply because the accomplishments of this man in Del Paso Heights were so great, the least thing that we could do is name a street after him. And Harry Block reminds me of so many unheralded black men that have stepped in the gap, encouraged young black men, was married, took care of his wife and kids, showed young black men a better way, and people like me can come back and testify to his greatness because we don't tell his story. But we don't want to talk about the black men like that who come out every day and swing the bat for young black boys who don't have their fathers in their lives. We don't talk about that. We always come in and talk about the black men who don't do anything. And that gives me today's topic. Rewind, Dima! The great Dr. Hasan Johnson is, in my honest opinion, the greatest black male content creator on planet Earth. And while I do cover black men from time to time inside of my videos, Dr. Hasan Johnson has made it his whole life's work to cover things impacting black men. And it's interesting that I say this about the brother. Speaking of unheralded, unnoticed, and not getting enough shine for what he does, that is exactly Dr. Hasan Johnson. He should have at least 100,000 subscribers, but of course as black men, we don't appreciate these people who actually do things for us and pave the way. But that's a whole nother story. Dr. Hasan Johnson, 8 months ago, August 22nd, 2022 to be exact, put out this particular video. Do black men ever get credit for their protection? And he talks about this black man by the name of Fritz Sam, who was an Uber driver who actually did something very miraculous to save some people who were getting ready to pass away. Let's play that clip from Dr. Hasan Johnson and find out what it's all about.
So the first one you can find on AtlantaBlackStar.com, entitled "He Ran Straight into the Fire. Uber Driver Halts Trip to Save People in Burning Brooklyn Building." Right? New York Uber driver has been called a hero after running into a burning building to help residents to safety. Reports show Fritz Sam was taking a passenger to LaGuardia Airport at 8 a.m. when he spotted a multi-story brownstone in Brooklyn on fire on August 17th. No first responders were on the scene yet, so he sprung into action after asking his passenger, Jemima Way, for permission. There's the brother right there. So he asked for permission from his passenger because he still had bills to pay, I'm more than sure. And then upon getting it, ran into a burning building before first responders got there. Shout out to you, Fritz. This is what I often call, sacred black masculine. So shout out to the brother, but let's continue, right? 5 minutes into the ride, we're passing this block. I noticed that there's some activity going on in front of a brownstone, Sam said. I realized it was a fire. Now, let me be clear. I get these often, at least 3 times a week, these kinds of articles. I don't always get a chance to report on them, but they're frequent and they're constant. And this is not new for black men. This isn't. Black men have been doing this, since they were black men. But for some reason, we live in a culture where in terms of the mainstream interpretation of black men, we don't do this. We don't provide protection. And keep in mind, he didn't know who was in there. He didn't know who was there. He didn't know if the whole building was empty. It could have been filled with kids. He didn't know who else was in it. He just ran in because of a desire to help others and at risk of his own life. I don't talk about this because it is an isolated incident. I talk about it because it's a constant, but it's a constant that goes unacknowledged. So Way followed Sam as he ran to the building, alerting sleeping occupants about the fire that at the time was contained on the second floor of the 4-story building. Flames were shooting out of the building. There were glass shards everywhere, Way said. It looked really bad. The passenger said she was not concerned about missing her flight after seeing people's lives in jeopardy. It was even a calculated decision. It wasn't even a calculated decision. He just ran in without hesitation, Way said. He ran straight into the fire. I thought it was so brave. According to CNN, neighbors weren't sure if there were still people inside, so Sam ran into the brownstone. He rescued a man on the first floor and a woman on the second. The woman was at the top of the stairs with smoke behind her. When Sam found her, he told the Washington Post. Sam tried to coax her out of the building, but she appeared stunned and refused to move. I think she was in shock and she didn't want to leave, Sam said. It took a little bit of negotiating. I'm not leaving without you, he recalled telling the woman. If you're not leaving, I'm not leaving. Sam told the Washington Post he believed it was his responsibility to help the people in the building. It's not my family, but it's someone else's family, he said. If it was my family and I wasn't able to be there, I would hope that somebody else would go in and help them. Absolutely. Shout out to this brother who did a tremendous job rescuing people he didn't even know in a building fire. 6 minutes before firefighters got there, and it took 70 of them to put out the flames. But he saved a number of people. And this is the kind of thing, this is the kind of protection that we're told that black men don't provide. That's interesting to me, right? Because in essence, what it does is it dehumanizes black men in the public consciousness. It locks us, crystallizes us into this image of being perpetual failures, cowards, really inhumane beings, less than human, that don't have the capacity for courage, intelligence, or self-sacrifice in the effort of helping others. And yet we see examples of this and it just flows by the wayside, right?
You see, here's the thing that I want to talk about today. When it comes to African-American men, it's very easy to pinpoint the things that we do very bad. And of course, when we talk about African-American women, it's very easy to pinpoint the things that they do very well. And of course, they are pinpointed because black women, they do a better job at owning their own media and telling their stories. But the thing about it is this: a black man who risks his life to take care of people he doesn't know, or who risks his life to take care of people he does know, and when he does it, it's just a pat on the back, but there's no appreciation for his service. It's only appreciation for women's services. And I get it, we live in that sort of world. But I want to play a video of brother Phil Scott from the African Diaspora channel. Actually, this is from his Phil Scott channel, breaking down this commentary about black men and sperm.
45% of women between the ages of 20 and 45 will be single and childless.
Listen there, because men checking out the process, she's saying by 2040, 45% of women will be single and childless. Now let's go to the situation about the sperm banks. And especially when it comes to black men. Black men's sperm is in high demand. And black men has checked out of that too. They say, I'm not giving my royal seed to no sperm bank so some lesbian couple can have a baby without me. I tell all men, stop giving your sperm to the sperm bank. Not just black men, but all men. Take away that. If they want your seed, then get it the old-fashioned way. That's what I say.
You're probably wondering, why did I play that particular clip? The reason why I played that particular clip is because of the lack of appreciation towards black men for their efforts. Black men have a different point of view for looking at relationships and marriages in the past 30 years. So much so that they don't even want to donate their own sperm, simply because black men are just tired of being castigated and tired of being underappreciated. even when you're a black man doing the right thing. Just think about it. Would you want to continue doing a behavior in which you're not being appreciated for when you're trying to do the right thing? And whenever something happens, then you're lumped up in the group of people who are making bad things happen as a group. How would that make you feel? I'll tell you what it will make you feel. It will make you feel like it's not worth it. And that is what's happening with black men. And I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank Dr. Hasan Johnson. I'd like to thank all you black men who've impacted Black America in a positive way. The black men who tutor, the black men who teach boxing to kids, the black men who are the basketball coaches, the black men who are the good pastors in the community, all black men who have decided that they would use their energy and their talent to pour back into people that may not appreciate what you do, but you do it because it is the right thing. And that is something that we can't stay away from. A content creator like Dr. Hasan Johnson, he's not getting big money from what he's doing. He could be doing something else. The guy is a PhD, is highly intellectual. But because black men don't get enough credit for what they do, that is why we're having this conversation today. And if black men do get credit for their protection, I believe you will see more black men wanting to actually be protectors. But when you don't feel like there's no incentive for what you do as a man, what do? You give up, you become apathetic, or you look for other opportunities. And sometimes, or usually most of the times, those opportunities are not in Black America. Those opportunities are in other places. And then you want to get mad at those particular black men for not wanting to be involved in what's going on in Black America. And dare I say, if it wasn't for black men like this particular guy, Mr. Fritz Sam, a lot of us benefited because some man came in and became a stepdad. Some man came in and showed us the way. One of the greatest influences of my life was Mr. Wagner. I don't want to put his full name out there, but he was my AAU basketball coach and my 8th grade basketball coach. And like, he just didn't let me make any excuses for being a failure, or he didn't let us as young black men make excuses for why we didn't have anything. And he was a very nonchalant, personal guy in his personality. But it's because of men like him, I am where I am today. I don't make excuses for why I fail or why I don't do things right or why I don't do that. And I'm so thankful. But we don't give the Mr. Wagners of the world their flowers. They just do it. They know they're not going to get any credit for it. Mr. Harry Blott, who in my honest opinion should have one of the greatest awards ever in the history of Del Paso Heights or in Sacramento. But at least we got it right and named the street after him. But for the rest of the guys, what do they get? Sometimes you don't even get a thank you. But I want to tell all black men that are doing things that are great, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I appreciate you. It's because of brothers like you, I am where I am today. So hopefully this will change if we make it. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again. I really appreciate you brothers for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.